Hello and welcome to a quick rundown of the online system designer from Thermal Integration. Okay, we will start off on the HeatWeb website, www.heatweb.co.uk. We can get to the system designer through Technical System Designer. Now we get the option to create a new design or to load up existing designs. So I'm going to start a fresh design. Now I'm going to run through these questions fairly rapidly just to demonstrate that once you know what you're doing, how quickly you can get through a design. Okay, now the system is split into a series of questions into various subjects. You can jump from one section to another. Okay, right, are we upgrading our own house? Yes. When is it required on site? Let's say within the next 3 months. Is the system to provide hot water? Yes. How many people live in the house? We have 3. Next. How many bathtubs are there? We have 1 bath. We have 1 shower. That is separate to the bath, yep, an ensuite. Okay, so that's telling me the bath and a shower adds up to 28 litres per minute. That does change as I change the outlets. The 28 goes to 38. I'll drop that back to 1 again. So the system constantly feeds you back information that helps answer further questions. So we need 28 litres per minute. I'm going to say let's have a system that's capable of delivering 30. So there's a bit of a margin. How good is our mains water supply? Well, this is to draw your attention to a question that often gets overlooked. I'm going to set that to 30. I'm going to say for now I've got a mains water supply that's good enough for what I'm asking. What level of demand is there? Well, average 65 litres of water per day. 3 kilowatts per person is fairly typical for a hot water allowance. Do you need additional limescale protection? Well, yes, we're in a hard water area. And do we want to fit a pump with a hot water circuit? So that's a secondary return to make sure that the water is hot at the taps. Let's go yes. Next. Is the system to provide central heating? Yes. Okay, now in order to do any calculations it needs to actually work out a rough heat loss. So it's a few questions here. Area of the ground floor, well, let's say it's 100 square meters. Let's say I got 25 meters of external wall. Well, that's a bit generous. Let's say 12 meters. Room height 2.4 meters. It's 2 stories. Yes, it's got some insulation. It's not extremely well insulated by any means. Heating degree days. This is a question about where you are in the country, how much heating requirement there is based on geography. So we'll leave it at the standard. Some questions you can't answer. They're in the advanced mode, which we're not covering today. Are we using heat ventilation recovery? No. How many square meters is heated by radiators? Okay, so I've got 200 square meters space to heat. I'm going to go for a split of underfloor heating downstairs and radiators upstairs. So we've got 100 square meters on radiators in one zone, which is upstairs. How many square meters by underfloor? Let's go 100 square meters. As you notice, the questions are resetting each time I answer a question. That's to make sure that the other questions appear as they need to. How is the underfloor heating controlled? Temperature control is on the manifold, which is fairly typical. And do I want to run an independent tail rail circuit? Let's get that out of the way. Let's see, that is no. Are we going to use a boiler? Yes. Okay, so it's mains gas. It's a regular boiler. We could, if we had a boiler we want to reuse, specify a system or a combination boiler, but given we're on a wood burner system here, we're probably on a vented system, so a regular boiler's fine. What is the output of the boiler? Well, it's done a calculation for us that we need 23.4 kilowatts, and it's picked the next boiler up, so we'll go with that as we haven't got a boiler in hand as yet. Now we're going to go for a wood burner. We're actually going to go for wood burner and solar panels. Now the wood burner needs to be, no, it's not actually directly below it in our house. We're going to say it's below and across, so it's as if it's downstairs and on the other side of the house, so it's probably going to need to be pump assisted. But the system will pick up on this and select the right part of the equipment. The output of the stove is again to work out whether it will gravitate or not. So we have 10 kilowatts to water, 5 kilowatts to the room. Let's say it's more like 6 kilowatts to the room and 8 kilowatts to water. And it'll be a manually adjusted one. The other option is self-regulating. Fuel cost does do a calculation of running costs. That's where that figure is required for. Now, how often are we going to use it? On a running costs calculation, we need to know really if you're going to use it once a week or all day long. So there's a question here to get a feel. So let's say we're up to 6 hours a day. We're going to be serious about using the wood burner. Solar panels, yes. We're going to use flat plate. Let's go for 4 square meters. Let's say we're on a south-east facing roof, pitched roof, 50 degrees. Now we're down in this part of the world, so 1100 kilowatt hours per year off the solar is a good starting point. Overshading factor 1, so that means we haven't got trees covering the solar panels. Are we going to use PV electric? No. Are we going to use a heat pump? No. We're going to use central communal heating system? No. Do we want to run central heating on electric alone? So this is a backup, so if everything else fails, do we want to be capable of running everything electrically? Well, no, we've got solar panels, we've got a wood burner, we've got a boiler. I think we'll have got enough, but we will have a 3 kilowatt electric backup just in case. Are there any size restrictions? Well, so no for now. 300 litres. It doesn't pick the store size, but it does put some calculators there, and it also gives you a recommendation required for the solar. Now this button here, water load calculator, will drop in the 3 people in the house, 2 showers and a bath, 3 drawer offs, 25 kilowatt boiler. I can move the outlets around if I want, to time things specifically. So let's say go. Now this is giving us a recommended buffer size of 90 litres for hot water, or a minimum, because we have the boiler to assist us. We could say, well, if we have no boiler input, so if we want to do all off stored heat, put the boiler down to 0, go to 0, and we're on 230 litres. So we're between 90 and 230 litres for domestic hot water. Okay, now then there's also a calculator for central heating. So if imagine we wanted to run central heating for an hour in the morning off stored heat, before say we get up and reload the wood burner. We don't want the boiler to kick in. I say we're going to run just 1 radiator. So let's put that down to say a 3 kilowatt radiator in the bedroom, just to get the bedrooms warmed up for an hour, just to make it nice enough to get out of bed and chuck some wood on the wood burner. Now radiator temperature, we'll be going, the store is at 75 degrees. In fact, the wood burner, so let's put it up to 80, and the central heating return be about 50 degrees coming back from the radiators at a minimum. Now this tells us we're going to need 85 litres of storage. If I put it for 2 hours, I'll need 170. So it's 170 litres of storage for this radiator in the morning, and I needed about between 90 and 200 for hot water. So let's stick with a 300 litre store. Is it possible to install a feed and expansion tank? Well, yes. Now the system will do full RHI and payback calculations, so it asks you questions such as the payback periods, the various tariffs, labour costs, capital costs. Now we're not going to put numbers in at this stage. We're just going to skip through this section to the summary. So we've answered all the questions now. Now we're going to give it a project name. This is a test. No need to answer in case anyone in sales picks up my inquiry. Now we have all the questions here in summary format. We can change any one in particular, but we're quite happy with all that. Next, now it will ask me for some details. Let's just put in test what I did earlier, test subject. No, I won't put it under my email. I put it under a new one without a password. So let's call it testing ttt at heatweb.com. County Suffolk. Postcode, I shall put it near the factory. We do need to just put the first part of the postcode. Now I won't put a password on this, which does mean it's open to public perusal. There are a few other questions to answer, and if you're an installer, please put some details down there so that we can price accordingly. Okay, now that has sent an email to our main sales agent in that area, and it's also come up with, now we didn't put proper figures in, so ignore the figures, but to give you a feel, it's given us a costing, capital, labour, running costs, and it does as payback calculation tables. Skip past this. The main interesting bit here is the calculations section. So it's all the calculations to do with hot water, the kilowatts, the total energy use per year. It does the same calculation for central heating. So we've got all of our heat inputs as well. These are made up of solar, where we do a full SAP calculation on the solar. We have wood burner calculations, and we have gas boiler calculations. So it's a very detailed analysis of all the fuel sources, and then it gives us a summary. So the idea is to do all of the maths that's required to come up with payback calculations, to work out pump sizing, and anything else that we need to know as a designer to make sure that we're selecting the correct product for you. Okay. Now finally it'll come on to some other pages where it starts selecting actual equipment. It'll pick a standard unit here with extra options such as the tappings for the underfloor heating, line scale protection, the pumps, backup immersion heaters. So there's the main system and any ancillary equipment that's recommended. It'll give some PDFs. So for example, PDF on the system we're talking about. So this is a system, solar, radiators, solid fuel boiler, F&E tank. Now it hasn't shown the underfloor heating on this schematic because we're adding them as extra bosses to this one. So see, it gives you a good detailed list of solar panels, the equipment that's required to fulfill that, and if there was biomass boilers required or anything else, it will also recommend that sort of equipment to us. We do get out of this other pages such as where to visit a local display centre, schematic diagrams, a picture of the system, and an option to email yourself a copy of the quote. So I'll go straight to finish at the moment. Send us an email. Okay, so that's it now. That's us done a system design. If I go back quickly to the main website, and now I go to Technical System Designer, and I go testing TTT at heatweb.com. You'll now see that we've loaded up our list of the designs, and here is the design that we have just done. So we can add notes, we can load the design up, go straight to the summary page, start making edits. It will automatically save all the edits. So generally it's basically a system for pulling together inquiries, noting all the technical information down in a central place, and it allows us to discuss the inquiry with you in detail, and make sure no facts get missed. Okay, thank you very much for listening.